Welcome to Some Say I'm Gifted, where we teach you the magic of walking in your spiritual gifts and how it can help you navigate this crazy life, and helping you understand that even though we're in this world, we are not of it. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's get real.
Hey y'all, it's Tess from Some Say I'm Gifted. I'm here with two amazing hostesses, Morgan and Danielle. Why don't y'all speak up?
Hello, everyone. I'm Danielle.
Hey guys, so excited to be back.
So we're back together recording for you all this week. I'm so excited. I have a wonderful question. Y'all ready? What is your favorite chain or local restaurant, but not fast food?
Ooh, that's a really good one. Danielle, you got one?
Does Wawa count? I mean,
It's a gas station.
It is a gas station, but it's an amazing gas station. But
True.
I would say I love Red Lobster, and I love the Cheddar Bay biscuits from Red Lobster.
Okay.
They are amazing.
I will definitely say mine is Chili's.
Really?
Yes, last week for like a week straight I was like telling Chase like we are gonna go to Chili's this weekend. I have to go to Chili's, and we did, and it was the best. I had myself a little margarita, and I always get the triple dipper as my meal with the Southwest egg rolls.
The Southwest egg rolls are amazing.
Those are my favorite.
Yes.
I always get 2 of the Southwest egg
Yes.
rolls, and then like a chicken tenders or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I have one. I like all of them.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, Applebee's is where I live. It's really small, so we have that. So it's like if we don't feel like anything else, we'll do that. But I really love Chili's. That we have a thing called Blue Moose in Johnson City, and there's only like 2. There's one here, and then there's one in Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg area. But I think I don't know of any other. It's pretty good. I'm really, when it comes to I'm fine with anything, so I have a hard time picking. I can't think of one that I dislike.
That's
Because-
good.
That's good.
Yeah, it's all pre-made meals, so it's like,
Yeah. It's everything's better at home.
yeah.
Like-
But if you cook all the time, it's better there. You know what I mean? Does it make sense? But that brings us to today's topic, which is, what do you want? And it's really funny because we believe that God can speak to us, right? And it's not like we hear a booming voice like, "Hello, have you brushed your teeth in 3 days?" It's a little bit different. It's like he leads you into conversations that you go, how did I get this answer? This is not something I would normally say, or how did we end up here? So Morgan and I had a crazy day today. We took one kid to a dentist, and then that kid and plus another kid to an eye doctor appointment. We had to get them lunch with one kid's face numb. We had some more errands to run. And by the time we were done, we were like,
Beat.
Lord, we need a nap. And when I get nervous, I tend to eat. And I'd bought a bag of potato chips. And so I was like, "You want some of these potato chips?" She said, "No." I said, "Well, what do you want?" She's like, "I don't know." I was like, "You need something. I can tell you're just getting like bummed out, like you're tired." She's like, "No." I said, "I want a hot dog."
Just out of the blue, I want a hot dog.
She didn't ask me what I wanted. I want a hot dog. Sometimes I would just be craving one. She's just like, ah. It's like I had gastric bypass, so it's really processed, and I'm not supposed to eat them. But sometimes I'll just be like, "Oh, hot dog." I don't even really like them that much. I think it's because they told me I couldn't have them. So, but then I said, "Oh my God, we have to do this on the podcast." I wish you all could see her face when I said that. She was like, "What?" I thought
It
she
was
was
so
mad at me.
out of the blue. I was like, "What do you want?"
Sometimes, I think I said, sometimes I just be wanting a hot dog. Like I was legitimate.
She was certain of what she wanted.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah.
And she's
Which I wish we all had that certainty of what we wanted.
Yeah, because I said this is what we need. This is what the first episode of our second recording session. We need to talk about this because what do you want in life? What is it that you want? So I'm going to ask you girls, what is it you want? What in life is it? What is your goal in life? What is it you're striving for?
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah. Just be able to slow down and not have to worry about the future or things coming. Just to be at peace in a garden.
Okay.
I agree. I mean, I actually just wrote down a list of my dreams recently. So this is so fascinating that we're talking about this. But I think joy number one, just like joy that I can tap into whenever I feel like I need it, and a stress-free life. And I know not everything can be stress-free, but to just not have to worry about all of the things that I find myself worrying about day in and day out. Yeah, that would be nice. I would like that.
Do y'all know how do you get that?
I think it starts with a G and ends with a D.
No, a GED does help. But
That was a good one.
yeah, but God does. I mean, like putting your faith in Christ, or if you don't follow Christ, I wish I had a prettier answer for you. I've tried everything. What I know y'all didn't ask me, so prepare yourself. I'm about to tell you, it's not just a hot dog, but I want. And this sounds really greedy, but I feel like it's so important to speak our truth, like not just our truth, but like to speak what we want. I want happiness, wealth, and health for my family. And that's pretty much sums up everything. Like fame's never been a thing for me. I do too much crap to be famous. Like I got in an argument with a nurse yesterday. I do too much crap to be famous. And I have too many kids to be famous. And I was too wild in my youth to be famous. But to be heard is different than being famous. Does that make sense? So it's not fame, but it's to be heard and to be happy is really important. But how do we get this? We get this from completely and totally giving everything to Christ, right? I wish that there was another way. Like, I wish that there was like, oh, you can do it with Buddhism too. For me, I couldn't. I never could reach. And I mean, I don't know if you consider just reaching enlightenment, getting it, but I just didn't feel the security with Buddha that I do with Christ.
Well, I think that's part of the reason even why we're doing this podcast is, yes, you can reach enlightenment, but we're still in this world. We still have worldly things that we have to deal with, even when we've gotten to such a high, like in myself, I feel peace, but I know that my physical body has to keep going and keep working so that in the future I have endless wealth and health and security. So it's just like, I want to be able to let my body sit down and breathe as much as my soul can.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Isn't that more of like a mind thing, though? Like,
no, not when, like, because what Morgan does for a living, she uses her body for. Like, she uses every inch of her hands and arms. And so it is a physical thing. She's a massage therapist, if that's okay to say. I'm not like working the corner, but.
You don't know.
This is true. I don't live where she lives, so, and I have questions sometimes. Anyway, but it puts more physical strain on you, and I know that's something we talk about a lot because like Morgan and I, it's how do I prevent things, collagen, things like that for joints and NAD and drunken raisins, things preventative maintenance. But so I understand that, but like the worry of that is what we have to give to Christ, and we have to allow him to take that from us. It's so bizarre. Recently I've had a lot of people questioning who I am in my faith in a lot of different ways, and which is not abnormal. I always have that. But it's so hard for me to look at them, especially people that really think they know me, and be like, how do you not understand why I follow Christ? Like, how can you know what I grew up in, sorry, and not see why Christ isn't paramount in my life? You know what I mean?
All the things that you went through, how you could be in this world without him.
Yeah, so it's really interesting to me. At the same time, people that don't know me completely, I can see how they can be like, you follow Christ? I get that. I get it. I don't fit the cookie cut of your mold or whatever. But so you guys know that. Do you all have any tips on how you allow God to take these things or to guide you through this?
I mean, we've talked about before, I do a lot of writing.
Yeah.
So I think that for me, writing down a list of answered prayers has really helped me put into perspective what it is that I want, what he's provided for me, and then how that's going to continue, because he's done so much for me already. Why would that not continue? So to have a physical list in front of me, write it down, have it in my journal, and go back and look at it, like, look at all these things that God has done. I've asked him for these, and he's given me tenfold what I asked for, whether it was in the way that I wanted or not. It was still
Provided.
Provided. It was an abundance of the things that I thought I wanted and needed, and he gave me. So I think writing down the physical list for me has really helped remember why giving it to him makes so much more sense than me trying to control it on my own.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I have just sitting here thinking about this topic specifically. I can go back into my life and be like, I didn't know what I wanted at all. And for my future, I didn't know what I wanted to be. Like, I struggled with that a lot as a teenager. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. Like, people, you hear about people know that they want to be a doctor, or people know that they want to be a stay-at-home mom, or they know what they want to be. And I didn't. I never did until I gave it to God. And I met you and your mom. I still didn't know what I wanted to be. And you guys helped me with that. I had no idea. And I started working with my hands, and you guys gave me different options, and I found massage therapy, and I just went on from there. And then I didn't know what I wanted in a partner. And then I made a list of what I wanted in a partner. And, that was after a couple of crappy exes, but
That was after a couple of crappy exes, some sessions, coming down here, spending some time with us.
yeah, I think really working on yourself, you'll figure out what you want if you look within.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop looking for what you want outside of yourself.
Yeah.
Sit down with yourself and God and find it there.
Yeah.
How about you, Tess?
Me, I mean, I know y'all weren't going to ask, so I open my big mouth, but I tried everything. I know that sounds stupid. I mean, I didn't try everything. Well,
Yeah, you did.
let's be very coy here. Okay. But I tried the witchcraft stuff, didn't work. I tried, Buddha, didn't work. Hinduism it was too many gods to remember. I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just, and my thought, Muslims and Judaism, you had to be born into that, and you can convert, but it wasn't my blood. Like, that wasn't for me.
It didn't feel right.
Yeah. It didn't feel like pushing myself into a place that I didn't have any business, because those are very like
felt
birthright.
intrusive.
Yeah. And then Christianity was the only thing that kept calling me back. Mind you, the Christianity, which I don't even like calling it Christianity, I follow Christ, is much different. So knowing that I needed to wrap my mind around that, and then seeing results with Christ and feeling his presence, and knowing that, as I said earlier, I'm never alone, was beautiful and what I needed, and was wonderful. And it gave me the peace that passes all understanding, to a point now that no matter what comes I don't want to like toot my own horn, but I depend completely and solely on Christ every day, nonstop. Morgan's seen, over years of me, especially me and my mom, like, we would go somewhere like, oh God, how are we going to get home? We don't have money, and God provides, So I have no doubt that that's going to continue to go that way. But for those that are listening, how do you get there? Well, first of all, you got to figure out, do you want to change your life? Do you want something different? And I'm big on writing it down. At some point I do want to get into it's not manifestation, but it's a neuroscientist. He's brilliant. I cannot remember his name right now, but he says you have to rewire your brain to get blessings, basically. And because a lot of people are like, oh, I'll never have that house. We can't. My husband last night at dinner, I was like, look at this house I saw in Zillow, whatever it is. And he was like, I saw it. It's this much money. We can't afford it. I was like, we can. Morgan's like, well, the interest alone, and if several, I was like, we can. And she looked at me, and I think she kind of realized, like, you can. Like, you could do that. It might be this much, but, and I know that we can. Whether it's that house or another, I know that, you know what I mean? And he's like, well, what about that? And I'm like, we can. So it's really hard for a lot of people to accept blessings. it's like a neuropath. That's what I was neuropath things with that. Okay. Anyways, you need to use as many
Physical.
senses. You got to activate all the senses when you're trying to rewire your brain, as many as possible. And that's very obvious, or we wouldn't use a sound therapy bed, because you can hear it, you can feel it, you can see things, all kinds of stuff. And so this really helps, doing a process, writing it down, saying it out loud, all these things help. So I would say whatever it is, you write it down. Morgan, you were talking about writing down things for a spouse. And I told you recently, I saw a guy that, and I'd never heard it put so simply. And I think it needs to be said on here, because he said, my whole life, I just wanted to be married. I just want to be somebody's husband. And, he said I was young. I was like 17, 18. And I was like, this is the girl I'm going to marry. And somebody that was mentoring him set him down and said, write down everything you want in a woman. And he did. He had no limit. You know what I mean? Like, he wanted her to be this tall. He wanted her to look like this. But the emotional things, he wanted her to be a woman of God. He wanted her to be, and then he took it to his mentor and said, here's my list. And he said, when you become all these things, not that he needs to become a woman, but like
6 foot tall.
Yeah. But when you become these things, when you can be a good provider, when you can be nurturing, when you can be a good spouse, when you can be, and you can become a good lover, when you can become these things, then God will bring that person to you. And he was like, I totally fought it for years. And the moment I gave into it, it happened.
It's beautiful.
And that's true. I mean, it's for me, it was true. For you, I'm sure for you guys, like, regardless of how long you've been with whoever you're with, the getting to the marriage part, or getting to that like stronger commitment part, whew,
It's tough.
You have to do a lot of work on yourself before you can do that. So
Yeah, it wasn't going to happen until I was able to accept who I was and be content with who I was and start loving myself. I mean, I think that's, we do the self-care Saturdays.
Yeah.
And it is really truly about, are you happy with you? Are you going to allow yourself to have the things that you're asking for?
Yeah.
And I think I struggle with that. I'm sure we do. It's hard to accept blessings, like you said, if you're constantly just not allowing yourself to have these things that you want, or not being in that mindset of thinking like, I can have this, I can have that house, or we can do the things that we want to do. We can travel,
or I'm worthy of it.
Yeah. That's the other thing, the worthiness. I'm so glad you said that, because if we don't add that worthy thing, we can have it, but we will feel like an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I know that I've struggled with in the house I live in, which y'all have been there. I love my house. It's beautiful, but we're a family of 7 and it's not big enough because I gave birth to giants. I don't know, whatever. So it's going to be hard to leave that house, but at the same time, I can't wait to. But living in that house, not that I'm like, I'm not like, we have 7 people in the house, and living is not cheap. I don't want to poor mouth myself, but I don't want to say I'm loaded. You know what I mean? Like, we make it work, but I feel guilty for that. Isn't that crazy? So I recently started saying, enough. I'm not feeling guilt for having food, having a roof, having clothes, having me.
I also want to point out that when you're feeling guilty or fearful or unworthy, that those are not of God.
No.
Those are not thoughts that God would ever want you to feel. So Absolutely. You immediately, when you're feeling those things, you would say, whoa, 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 whoa. This isn't, this is not me. This is
Absolutely.
not me, and it's not God, and it's not in my household. I'm not allowing it.
Yes. Yes, because if you, as an adult, if you have children, whether you're birth children or not, they're in your home, and you allow that to linger, it will attach to them. Did you guys ever see the second Monsters University, like Monsters Inc.? It was Monsters University.
I don't know if I watched the second one. I remember the first one.
This is the best way I can explain the attachment thing. So there's a part they do like these Greek games because they're in college, right? And they have to run through a tunnel, and there's like these sticky balls, and when they get on you, they swell up, and they swell you up, and you can't get them off, okay? But if you touch them, they're really pretty, and they're bright lights. But if you touch them, that's all it takes, okay? That's what it's like, because they become such a part of you, these attachments, but you can give them to somebody else too. So when you realize that, and you realize allowing that, and controlling your thoughts, and people are like, I can't control my thoughts. I have crazy thoughts. Okay. You say, that's not my thought.
Yeah. You have
That's not my thought.
you have to stop yourself from
Yeah.
diving into it. You have to pull back the reins.
It literally in my head there is like a light switch that I just turn. I recognize the thought, and then I go to the light switch in my head and I turn it off, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna go to the next thought now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like someone told me it's like there's a bunch of leaves in a stream, and you just got to watch that leaf go and then move on to the next one. Like you got to keep it.
Oh no, I'm pulling those motherfuckers out.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'll pull back. Here's the funny thing.
I ain't turning light switches. I'm not letting leaves go. This is not peaceful.
You're like, serious? Like this?
You do not belong here. Get the fuck out.
Like today, my kids did not want to go back to school.
Sorry.
That's true. My kids didn't want to go back to school, and I was like, I don't want to make them go to school. I was trying to breathe through it because I know they have anxiety, which gives me anxiety, whatever. And I was like, I had to go, and I looked at Morgan at one point, and I went, this is what they're trying to do. This is. I'm gonna feel guilty because I'm making them go to school. If they don't go to school, I go to jail. So no. And then I just it was like a light switch, and I was like, that's when I started laughing. I was like, I want a hot dog. So I don't allow it, but I call it out and I laugh about it because Morgan and I were talking about me being a stepmom. She's like, but I said, listen, I'm not in my brain. In my brain, the things I say, nobody else hears. At the same time, it's only a reaction to what's being said to me. It's not horrible, but it's like, what?
Yeah.
You did what? You peed where? You know what I mean? Like, that is not a toilet, and they're not little kids. They're old enough to know it. So it's a lot of times I just close my mouth. And Morgan said, well, you're a good stepmom for that. I'm like, I don't know what else to say.
Sometimes there is nothing else
Yeah.
to say.
I mean,
This situation you're in is impossible.
Yes.
You're honestly lucky you haven't set the house on fire and walked away.
I have thought about it a few times. So
Believe it.
You know what I mean? Like we can't. I have to call them out because especially in my house, if I let one little bit, when you've got everything, like the pitching, the not pitching machines, but it's the same thing for tennis.
Oh yeah, the machines that throw the ball.
That's how fast stuff comes at me.
Oh yeah,
I've
seen it.
To the point that you're like, drugs could be an option.
But if one of those things you allow to swell,
Yeah, if you allow it to stick and get in your brain and be like, you are a bad mom, you are a bad stepmom, you're a horrible cook, nobody likes your food, they actually throw it. I know it sounds crazy, but before you know it, you're like in a spiral and you're like, what am I doing? So another really cool thing that we did a class about giving things to God, right? Because I teach a lot of online classes. And you colored with all your favorite colors on a piece of notebook paper, right? You just cut swirls. You could do design, whatever. Do it. Just color, right? Lots of doodles.
Yeah.
Crayons, markers. Do both sides. You do one side really bright. You do one side really dark.
Ooh.
Okay, with darker colors. Then you take the piece of paper and you cut it in a spiral and you hold it up and you can see both.
Oh wow.
And it sounds stupid, does it not?
It sounds so elementary,
Yeah.
but then I have mine hanging in my office, and I literally was looking at it before I came here today, and I was like, that's how you once you're down, you can get yourself back up, but you got to try to not get down. They live the darkness and the light. They connect, right? But it's
So
what
you can
side
see the dark and the
How
light.
did I skip this class?
You were in it. I think you were just really busy. You're usually in most of the classes.
Yeah.
You're just super busy.
but it's they live in tandem, but you have to choose which side you're going to allow to have the most room in your life.
Yep.
And it's a constant reminder for me, just looking at it physically, of you can dwell in that darkness. You can dwell on that dark side, but you know what it's like on the other side.
Yeah.
You know how wonderful it is to live in that light and that peace
Yeah.
that God provides.
Yeah.
So I loved that class, and I look at that every single day.
I think on the dark side, and I'll have to go back and look at my notes, but on the dark side, you could even write words and negative things. And on the light side, you could write happiness and joy. I mean, you got to realize it's your life, but you're doing it on one piece of paper and then you cut it. And then when you're done and you can hang it up and you can see how it's intertwined, that without darkness, there's not light. Without light, there's not darkness. You're like, whoa, this is my life.
Wow.
So I think I know there's multiple ways to get to what you want. hardest thing is, how do you get there? How do you figure it out? So this is going to be really silly, but this is a tactic that my family used to use. We would, depending on what the situation was, but if it was me and my mom wanted me to go to beauty school and I wanted to go to design school, we would play rock, paper, scissors.
No way.
Yes. It decided a lot of things. Let me say this. My mom trumped everything. Like, she won. Like, whatever. Even if I won, she won. But it did really give you perspectives. And why? Why do you want to do that? So my question to everyone, and please, we love when people reach out to us and talk to us. It makes our day. It makes our week. We're like, people care. They want it. They want to talk to us. We're cool. I mean, I'm sure the jury's still out on that, but we love to hear from y'all. So what I would like to know, what it is you want, and how do you plan to get it?
Yeah. And we would love to help you. If you don't know what that is, if you are need a sounding board, we are here for you.
If you want to play rock, paper, scissors, shoot,
Yes.
we are here for that.
You know, that's really cool because part of what I do, counseling, stuff like that, I get to work with a lot of people. And what do you want? You know, that's one of the things I ask in the first 15, 20 minutes of work. What do you want? And people look at me like, that's right. No, what do you want? I'm not saying, what do you want? I'm saying, what do you want?
Yeah.
I still think Morgan needs some potato chips that'll pepper up some, but you know.
Yeah, well.
Maybe a hot dog.
Hey, I know where to get a good old hot dog. Let me just tell you. I'm not legally able to eat them, though, is what they said. And I bet I could do it. I've been doing pretty good with their
No.
things.
No.
Applebee's it is.
TBD on that, guys.
Yes.
We'll let you know.
Like us on Facebook, Instagram. I am on X, which I'm unfiltered
Oh my
on
God.
X.
Yes. I told her she could go wild. I gave her full control.
It's hilarious. So I'm just hoping that you got to follow my Twitter. X, whatever it's called. Yeah.
Oh man,
I'm excited.
I can't.
I put something on there every day.
Have you been?
Love it.
Every day. I put
Oh
something on
God,
there.
I have to.
I gotta
I have to
re-download
download this
mine.
app.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite ones, there's a famous golfer and he walks around barefoot, he smokes, he drinks like 24/7. And he's like, this is a normal life. This is me. You know, it's a lot of memes, but it's funny. I mean, I sent you one last night of the Care Bear stare.
You put that on there?
I probably will tomorrow. There might be a lot of F words, but you know, how can you live in a lot?
Yes,
world
if you
without the
want
F word?
X-rated content.
Yeah.
Sign
And
up.
if you look and see who I follow, you'll be like, what? So I don't care.
Just for the sheer entertainment purposes,
Yeah.
you guys gotta
Yeah.
go follow Tess on X.
But also leave comments and contact us on whatever platform you're listening on, as well as somesayI'mgifted@gmail.com, correct? And you can find me on Facebook, and hopefully you guys will find us and tell us what you think about everything. Love you guys. Have a great day, and let us know what you want.
Bye. Love y'all.